with how you got started with Beachbody.
Yes, I'd love to. Oh gosh. So guys, I want to just share a little bit about this story. So I actually grew up in a small town in upstate New York. I was the oldest of three. So typical firstborn, okay? Other firstborns in the audience know what I'm talking about, right? We're a little driven, a little competitive, high achiever, which served me really well in a lot of ways, except it contributed to some anxiety. Now, some stress and anxiety is normal, right? But mine wasn't. Looking back, I really know now that I was having anxiety attacks. And so I would have like stress and really obsessive worry over things. And so as a young kid, I was 10 years old, I started to look for ways to be able to deal with that anxiety. And one of the ways that I found was with food. And so starting at a very young age, I started to soothe with food. And that was, again, right about 10. Well, eating emotionally, I started gaining a little bit of weight, a lot of weight. I was a chubby kid. And so I went on my first diet. So 10 years old, went on a diet, and this started this lifelong battle with my weight. And I went on every diet under the sun over the course of the next couple decades. I was strict, I would binge, I would over-exercise, and ultimately it led to a full-blown eating disorder. And I let it go for close to 2 decades. And finally in my 20s, I finally decided I needed to get treatment, which was really hard because I had a lot of shame associated with it. I never told anyone about it, so I told my family, and then I went and I sought treatment. And I went to an eating disorder center in Atlanta. I got healthy. It really changed my mindset, which is awesome. But physically, I was at my highest weight, and that was really hard. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get healthy. I didn't know how. You go on so many diets, you're like, what workout do I do? What do I eat? And so one night I was working, there was an infomercial that popped up in the background. I was typing away on my computer and took a peek, and it was Tony Horton, P90X. Love P90X. That's my soulmate program. And I'm like, you know what? I never ordered anything off the infomercial. I bought the whole thing, the pull-up bar, the whole night, and I started doing the workouts in my teeny tiny living room. And I just fell in love, you guys. I fell in love with taking care of my body in the right way. Not being skinny, but focusing on sound nutrition, lifting weights, cardio, the whole night. And that program really changed my life. I lost 40 pounds, and I kept it off for 10 years.
Wow, that's such an incredible story of perseverance. So you saw the infomercial while you were traveling for work, so you weren't a Beachbody coach right away.
No.
How did you get introduced to the coaching opportunity?
Darn it, I wish someone would have asked me, guys, a long time ago. So after I lost the weight, I got pregnant with my first baby, Gray. And then when Gray was 7 months, surprise, I got pregnant with baby number 2. So I had 2 babies back to back, which wasn't part of my plan, but that was part of God's plan. And so it was awesome having those little ones, but my job was really stressful. I went back when Lily was 4 weeks old. So it's a demanding job.
Yeah.
I worked as a leadership development consultant, and it's a prestigious job. I worked really hard my whole life to land this job. And 6 figures, the whole thing that looked so perfect from the outside, but I wasn't happy. I was traveling all the time, I was burnt out, stressed out, I was missing out on all the stuff with my kids. And I'll never get that back. But I just got to a point where I'm like, okay, something's gotta give. And for those of you who are parents, I don't know if you felt this feeling where they call from the daycare and you're like, who's gonna get the kids? These kids are sick, my husband's traveling, and it just is very stressful. In fact, there was one time when my husband, was dropping the kids off at the daycare. He went to the airport, got on a plane. I was supposed to be coming home that morning, and I got snow delayed. I was in Detroit, he was on an airplane, and they called. My kids were sick, both of them. Makes me emotional because there was no one there to get my kids. And that doesn't feel good as a mom, and you feel like you can't even take care of your family. And we had this beautiful family, but I wasn't enjoying them. And so I think the hardest thing too was when you work so hard for something your entire life, and then you get there and you're like, this is it? Like, this is what I work for? That is not a good feeling, y'all. That's scary. It kind of gives me even the goosebumps right now. And so, something had to change. And so it did. I sat down and talked with my husband and crying. And I'm like, we gotta make a change. Something's gotta give. And he's like, agreed. Let's pray about it. Let's figure something out. Meanwhile, I was following a woman on Instagram, and just for fitness inspo, and actually I was stalking her. Every day I would go to her account, and I would she was a bright light, you guys. We can be such a light in people's lives. I'd go to her account, she was talking about her faith and fitness and just a lot of things that I enjoy, her family. And so I reached out to her, asked her what she did, because I was curious. And she said, I'm a Beachbody coach, and I was like, didn't have a good reaction, okay? I had a negative perception about network marketing. I didn't understand the gift of what it is. It's like, they call it unconsciously incompetent, like you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know. And so I'm like, never gonna do that. Well, never say never. 2 weeks later, 2 more breakdowns on Sunday night, and I prayed, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna go for it, we're gonna do it. So I made the decision, Matt and I decided, became a coach, went all in, and then 2 years later I quit my corporate job.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, we know that that's not everyone's desire, that's not everyone's story, and I know that you worked extremely hard and diligently to get where you are, but man, for 2 years, you worked your extremely demanding corporate job and you were a Beachbody coach. What were those first 2 years like, and how is life different today?
Yes, so obviously it was pretty chaotic, right? So it was very busy. I was traveling internationally, my husband was traveling internationally. We were involved with our church. There was just a lot going on, but for me, it was having that renewed purpose. They say purpose and passion is an incredible alarm clock. I remember being excited. I go to bed and it was like I was excited to wake up in the morning to work, which was a feeling I hadn't had in such a long time. And so I got up really early, and I worked in the morning. And I sent invites on my lunch break, and I folded laundry when I was listening to the National Wake Up Call. You know, I found those cracks of time, and I worked hard, and it was hard. There were moments where I was like, I can't do this, I'm not good at this. But that's part of the process, is pushing through and growing. So it's pretty awesome. Matt and I had a mantra, it was Freedom 2018. That was our battle cry for our family. And so it was really cool when I got to speak at Super Saturday, and I got to stand up there and tell everyone, I just put my notice into my full-time job. Such a surreal feeling. So it's been amazing.
So how is life different today?
Well, in a lot of ways. I think, of course, all the obvious ways, right? Time freedom is incredible, the autonomy, financial freedom, the friendships. I have a lot of my team is here, and it's just these deep, rich, meaningful friendships. So all those things have been incredible. Purpose. But I think for me, and I really mean this, is the woman who I've become, the mom that I am now, the leader, the wife. I am able to do things now I would have never done, like this. Even though I used to speak in front of some crowds, not quite this extent here. The confidence that I have, what I believe I'm capable of, so many things, being able to fail and being okay with it and knowing it's part of the process, I just really feel like that's been huge for me, and it's such a gift. And so that's why I'm so passionate about helping other women, and that's what I want to share with all of you out there today, is that you do not have to resign yourself to a life that's less than what you love. You don't have to feel trapped. You don't need those golden handcuffs. It's in your mind, this is possible for you. And if you're not sure if it is, I want you to know it is. You were made for this. You're made for more. And so my advice or my encouragement is just over the next few days to lean in. Because this could be your more.
I love that so much. Coaches, you were made for more. You belong here, and so do the people you come in contact with. Rachael, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. Another round of applause for Rachael Bodie.